Students, I hope you all are fine and you are doing well. Welcome to Geography class, Bridge Course Session 17. In this session, we are learning about rotation and revolution. In this chapter, today we are learning to understand what causes day and night, to understand what causes seasons, and to learn the relation between equinox and solstice. So first, I am explaining introduction of the rotation and revolution. Have you ever wondered what causes day and night, or why weather conditions keep changing all the time? And why are polar regions always very cold and equatorial regions very hot? The extremities in the climatic conditions are due to the movements of the earth. We have read in the previous chapters about the movements of the planets in our solar system. In this chapter, we will read about the two movements of the earth rotation and revolution. We will also learn about their causes and effects. The earth spins on its axis while orbiting around the sun in an imaginary path. The motion, which involves one complete spin on its axis in 24 hours, is called rotation. See here, the motion of the earth, which involves one complete orbit around the sun, is called a revolution. So together these two moments affect the temperature and the weather, and thus we experience the seasons also. So now let us start rotation of the earth. First, what is rotation? The circular motion of the earth on its tilt axis from west to east is called rotation. The earth spins like a top at the speed of 1670 km per hour, rotating freely on its axis. It takes the earth roughly 24 hours to complete one rotation, which makes for a single day and night. Okay, so it is the rotation. So next concept, effects of the earth's rotation. We know that as the earth rotates on its own axis, the part which faces the sun experiences daylight, while the part which is away from the sun is dark and it experiences night. As the earth is tilted at a certain angle, a part of it comes under a shadow. The shadow falls in such a way that a line seems to separate day from night. This line is known as what? Line illumination. What is that? Line illumination. Since the earth rotates in an anti-clockwise direction, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. The length of the day is measured from sunrise to sunset. The earth's rotation on its tilt axis causes the sun's rays to fall at different angles on its surface. See here, the perpendicular phase at the experience at noon, that so 12 noon, we calling that midday. From this position onwards, the rays from the sun begin to set the slanted, and in few hours there is evening. Just as the last rays of the sun fade away below the horizon, there is a dusk. When the sun sets below the horizon, we experience that darkness, so which is called night. As the first rays of the sun begin to emerge from the beneath the horizon, there is dawn. As the sun rises above the horizon, its bright rays bring in the morning, and the darkness of the sky vanishes. If the axis was perpendicular, okay, if the axis was perpendicular to the plane of the earth, all parts of the globe would have experienced equal length, the day and night through the year. Since the Earth's axis is tilt, it causes varying lengths of days and nights and different seasons. In summer season, we know that, see here, in summer days are long and nights are short. But as winter approaches, days begin to set shorter. If the southern hemisphere, see here, is tilted towards the sun, it will experience shorter nights and the longer days, and it would be summer season there. So places in the equatorial region have almost equal days and nights throughout the year because the rays of the sun fall directly here all the year round. As we move away from the equator, see here, as we move from the equator, away from the equator, it almost equal days and nights here. So the rays, as we move from the equator, the rays of the sun become more slant, so thereby causing greater variation between days and nights here. During midday means midsummer, the poles have 24 hours of daylight, and during midwinter they have 24 hours of darkness. The Earth's rotation also gives it its geoid shape, that is bulging at the equator and flattened at the poles. The Earth spins faster at the equator, causing it to spread out more there. See here, in Norway is called the land. Norway is called the land of the midnight sun. Means it is Norway is called that midnight sun. It's the land of midnight sun. So this is because the sun never sets in the region between late May and late July. See here, the sun in midnight, the sun is in this region, okay, never sets here, later May and late July. During the summer months, areas located north of Antarctica Circle may see up to 20 hours of sunlight here. During the time of midnight sun, however, they also experience long periods of darkness during the winter. So let us now talk about revolution. Revolution, the motion of the earth as it travels along an imaginary path around the sun is called revolution. Okay, so the motion of the earth that travels along an imaginary path around the sun is called what? Revolution. One complete revolution of the earth around the sun takes 365 days and 6 hours. One calendar year has 365 days. The 6 hours of 4 consecutive years is added to make one full day. So this extra day is added to the month of February. Every 4 years, the year that has 366 days is known, that is a leap year. We calling that leap year. Thus in the leap year, February has 29 days are coming. See here, seasons. Throughout the course of the journey around the sun, the earth experiences constantly changing seasons here. Some seasons are we are seeing in this picture. See here, winter season, spring season. So this winter, north hemisphere means it is a southern hemisphere, summer, and here northern hemisphere, summer, and here southern hemisphere, winter. Okay, and see here, southern hemisphere item and northern hemisphere item is there here, and southern hemisphere spring is there. And H means what? Northern hemisphere. SH means what? Southern hemisphere. See here, the seasons these that we experience throughout the year are caused by the earth revolution and tilt of its axis. As the earth traveled around the sun here, so see here, the earth is traveled around the sun on its imaginary path. The side leaning towards is keep changing. When northern hemisphere leans towards the sun, it receives more light and heat. See here, northern hemisphere. See here. Okay. So northern hemisphere leans towards the sun. It receives more light and heat, making it warmer. During the same time, the southern hemisphere, which tilted away from the sun, gets lesser amount heat and light. See here. So southern hemisphere, we are seeing here, it is the southern hemispheres. So this southern hemisphere, during this time, the which tilt away from the sun gets lesser amount of heat and light, making it colder. Okay, the result of this is that the northern hemisphere enjoys summer, and during the same period, the southern hemisphere experiences winter. Okay, and 6 months later, see here, in this position, later the position of the earth becomes opposite. Okay, now we have seen here, first the northern hemisphere is the sun rays are traveled to directly. It says directly. We are feeling here days. So here summer days. And southern hemisphere we are seeing here dark. So here which season is came here? Winter. We feeling cold. After 6 months, this position is the earth position is changes here. Earth becomes opposite, and so means southern hemisphere now enjoys summer and is still towards the sun, and the northern hemisphere will have winter season. Again change the positions here. So next concept is there, what is overhead sun? When sun rays fall perpendicularly on the earth's surface, it is termed as overhead sun. The sun is overhead between the Tropic of Cancer. The sun overhead between Tropic of Cancer, okay, and the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, and crosses the equator. And it crosses the equator. See here. Twice a year, as the earth still shifts from the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. During the course of this movement, solstices and equinoxes occurs here, and we experience change in seasons. See here. Solstice. What is meant by solstice? The term solstice originates from two Latin words, sol, which means sun, and sister, which means to stand still. Okay, and see here, the term solstice, this originate what? Two Latin words are there, sol means sun, sister means what? Stand still. Summer solstice occurs around June 21st in the northern hemisphere, and marks the longest day of the year. In June 21st till longest days of the year started. On this day, the sun is overhead at the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, see here. On the same day, the southern hemisphere experiences winter solstice, marking the shortest day of the year. 6 months later, means on December 22, the sun is overhead at the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Capricorn. During this time, the southern hemisphere experiences summer solstice. This day is the longest day in the southern hemisphere. While in northern hemisphere is the shortest day of the year. In when that? December 22. So afterwards, see here equinoxes. The term equinox is derived from the Latin word equus, which means equal, and nox, which means night. Okay. An equinox occurs when the sun is overhead at the equator. During an equinox, days and nights are equal all over the earth. Equinoxes occur twice a year, generally around March 20 and September 22. Twice a year occurs here, equinox. See here. Spring or vernal equinox occurs around March 21st in the northern hemisphere, which marks the beginning of the spring season. On this day, sun rays fall directly on equator, and there is equal day and night all over the world. The spring season is followed by summer. Okay. At the same time, means the spring season is followed by summer here. At the same time, the southern hemisphere experiences autumn equinox. Means it is the southern hemisphere experiences autumn equinox, which is followed by season here winter. Autumn equinox occurs around here. See, autumn equinox occurs around September 23 in the northern hemisphere, followed by winter. Okay, it is also followed by winter season, and during the same period southern hemisphere experiences spring equinox, which is followed by summer season. Okay students, I hope today's topic rotation and revolution you have understood. So clearly you make the points and send it my WhatsApp number. And next session I am continuing in next class. Thank you.